7 signs you're a dark chosen one whose vibration attracts both angels and demons. Let me take you to a place most people avoid. A place deeper than meditation, deeper than mantras, deeper than light. A place where your very existence bends frequencies, where your presence shakes the unseen world. Because if you're a dark chosen one, you already know this, your vibration doesn't just attract love and light. It summons extremes. You live in a psychic gravity field that pulls both angels and demons to your doorstep, not because of who you think you are, but because of what you carry. But let's not romanticize this. This is not a title you choose. This is a frequency you survive. You were marked before you had language for it. You grew up feeling like something was watching, guiding, challenging you. You felt the strange duality, sometimes protected in impossible ways, other times thrown into the depths of psychic war. You noticed how people either adored you or feared you, how animals, children, even strangers paused in your presence, unsure whether to step forward or flee. And deep down you wondered, why does everything around me intensify? Why do I feel like a magnet for both miracles and madness? It's not your imagination. It's not a glitch. It's your frequency. And the first sign you're a dark chosen one is this: your energy is polarizing. People don't just like you. They either want to follow you into the fire or they want to burn you in it. There's very little middle ground. That's because your vibration doesn't live in neutrality. It lives in truth. And truth, when embodied, doesn't just illuminate, it disturbs. It awakens what others have tried to bury. Your mere presence becomes a spiritual mirror, and mirrors are dangerous to those still hiding from themselves. But why angels and demons? Why both? Because your frequency sits at the intersection of realms. You carry both the blueprint of ascension and the memory of descent. You are a bridge, a threshold. And entities both light and shadow are drawn to thresholds. They sense in you a gateway. You're not just sensitive, you're a conduit. And that leads us to the second sign: you experience inexplicable spiritual interference. Electronics glitch when you're emotional. Lights flicker when you're deep in thought. You wake up at 3:33 or 4:44 for weeks. You hear whispers in dreams that feel like instructions. You feel watched, not in a paranoid way, but in the way a lion feels the jungle hold its breath. Because it isn't just humans watching, it's forces watching, waiting.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
And not all of them are friendly. That's the third sign: you trigger psychic attacks even when you're doing everything right. You could be meditating, eating clean, staying aligned and still. Out of nowhere, a wave of dread hits you. A shadow walks into your room. A dream turns sharp. An invisible weight presses on your chest. Why? Because your light isn't safe light. It's transformational light. And transformational light is a threat to lower entities. You don't just shine, you restructure. You alter frequencies by existing. And anything built on illusion will try to survive by destabilizing you. But here's the paradox. The more these forces try to attack you, the more you awaken. That's sign number 4. Pain is your activation trigger. While others break under pressure, you crack open. You've noticed that your darkest nights are often followed by your deepest downloads. That losing people or opportunities seems to unlock gifts you didn't know you had. That betrayal leads to intuition. That heartbreak opens your channel. It's almost like the universe uses pain to refine you, to sharpen your blade, to pull you deeper into your essence. Most people resent pain, but you've begun to revere it, not because you enjoy suffering, but because you've discovered its alchemy. Let's go deeper. The 5th sign is this: you attract broken people and powerful people, often at the same time. One day, someone with immense influence or spiritual depth enters your life and says, "There's something about you." The next day, Someone spiraling in chaos clings to you like you're their last breath. You're the lighthouse and the lightning rod. You're the healer and the trigger. And you ask yourself, why do I always feel responsible for people's breakthroughs or breakdowns? It's because your field emits a frequency of truth acceleration. People evolve faster around you, but not always smoothly. Some rise, some fall, but all are changed. And that's a heavy burden. Which brings us to sign 6. You've known loneliness that defies words. Even in a room full of people, you felt like an outsider. Not because you're antisocial, but because you see. You feel. You know, and most don't. You feel the undercurrents. You sense the lies. You hear what people aren't saying. And that awareness isolates you. You're not above others, you're just tuned differently. And when no one speaks your frequency, silence becomes a companion. But in that silence, you also find something else: presence, stillness, power. You begin to realize that solitude isn't exile, it's your training ground. And finally, sign 7, you've been saved more than once by something you can't explain. Maybe you should have died in that crash. Maybe you should have drowned, overdosed, spiraled too far. But something intervened, and it wasn't luck. It was alignment, because you are here for something. Something bigger than titles, followers, or fame. You are here to anchor a frequency that disrupts the old world. You are here to walk between dimensions and remind people of what they've forgotten. But to do that, you had to be tested. You had to be chosen. And being chosen doesn't mean you're better. It means you're responsible. So now I ask you, which of these signs live in your soul? How many of them have whispered to you in the dark? How many have threatened to break you, only to forge you into something unshakable? Because if you carry even one, just one, you're not just different. You are aligned with a force that few have the courage to embody. And your path, though lonely at times, is sacred. You are not crazy. You are not cursed. You are called. Why, your aura is a battlefield and your silence is a weapon. If you've ever walked into a room and felt the atmosphere shift without a word being spoken, you've already experienced the truth of it. Your aura is not passive. It is not just a glow. It's a living battlefield. And when you are a dark chosen one, your aura doesn't just reflect your state, it commands the energy around it. Whether you're conscious of it or not, your very presence sends a signal into the invisible realm. And that signal is not neutral. It's a challenge. It's an invitation. It's a warning. You are not just a soul in a body. You are a frequency in motion. And that frequency either awakens people or exposes them. This is why you felt drained in certain places, exhausted after simple conversations, or physically heavy after just being near someone. It's not emotional fatigue, it's energetic warfare. Because the moment you enter a space, your aura begins to interact with the unspoken truths, suppressed shadows, and unacknowledged energies of that environment. Your field begins to disturb the static. Entities both human and non-human feel it. They don't always understand it, but they react to it. Some are drawn to it because they recognize your frequency as a catalyst. Others are repelled by it because your very presence threatens the illusion they depend on. And that's why your silence is not weakness. It's warfare. It's precision. When you speak, people listen, but when you're silent, people feel. Because your silence is not empty. It's charged. It vibrates with everything you've seen, endured, decoded, and transmuted. You speak through your stillness. You teach through your vibration. And that's why the most powerful moments of your life didn't come through shouting, they came when you stood in the storm without flinching. When you didn't defend yourself. When you didn't retaliate. When you let your energy speak for you. And it did. This is why the dark chosen ones are often misunderstood. People think you're distant, cold, or detached. But the truth is, you're strategic. You don't waste your energy trying to fix what doesn't want to evolve. You don't perform truth, you live it. And that truth becomes a kind of silent thunder inside you. A force that says, I see through this. And when you see through the masks, people either take theirs off or try to destroy yours. Let me ask you something that cuts deep. How many times have you stayed silent, not out of fear, but out of sacred responsibility? How many times have you known you could obliterate someone with truth, but chose to hold it because you knew they weren't ready? That's not weakness. That's mastery. That's the knowing that truth is a weapon and weapons must be handled with care. You've learned that not every battle is yours to fight. Some are yours to witness. Some are yours to transcend. And that's where your aura becomes not just a shield but a field of coherence, a field that calibrates chaos. You've probably noticed that when you're aligned, people start to confess things to you they've never told anyone. Strangers open up. Friends fall silent around you, unsure why they suddenly feel exposed. It's because your aura is a mirror. It reflects what's real. And in a world built on performance, that's terrifying, but also healing. And that's your gift. But gifts come with responsibility. And here's the part no one tells you: the stronger your energy, the more fiercely the chaos will try to anchor itself to you. Because when you radiate clarity, confusion wants to cling. When you embody sovereignty, codependence wants to seduce. When you live in alignment, misalignment wants a place to hide. You become a testing ground for the energies of others. They unconsciously want to see if you'll break character, if you'll descend to their level, if they can shake your stance. And most of the time you don't. But when you do, it's because your own shadows still need attention. That's when your aura flickers. That's when the battlefield becomes internal. So what do? You stop trying to fix the battlefield. You become the field. You stop getting pulled into arguments that lower your frequency. You stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop proving your worth to systems built on unworthiness. And you start speaking only when your soul feels it's time. You start choosing presence over performance. You start trusting that your silence, your stance, your stillness, they are enough. Because here's the final truth: the highest frequency doesn't always scream. Sometimes it just is. And in that isness, angels gather, demons tremble, and the world silently rearranges itself around those who have mastered the art of energetic command. You don't need to announce your arrival. Your field already did. You don't need to fight to be seen. The unseen already knows who you are. And the ones meant for you, souls, spirits, allies across dimensions, they feel it. They hear the silent drumbeat of your being, and they respond. So now I ask you, not as a challenge, but as an invocation, can you hold your silence long enough to let your energy speak? And can you trust your aura to do the work that words never could? Because when you do, you stop being the warrior and become the storm. The sacred chaos, why darkness is not evil but a portal to your power. We've been lied to, all of us. Conditioned to believe that darkness is evil, that chaos must be avoided, that the unknown is something to fear. But the deeper you walk this path, the path of the dark chosen one, the more you begin to realize that what the world calls darkness is not malevolent. It's misunderstood. It's not the enemy. It's the initiation. And until you learn to see chaos not as a curse but as a cosmic invitation, you will resist the very force that's trying to evolve you. Chaos is the language of transformation. It is the raw, untamed frequency of shift. It's the moment before birth, the split second before breakthrough, the silence before the scream. And when it shows up in your life through loss, confusion, breakdowns, shadow work, it's not saying you're being punished. It's saying You're being called to step into a deeper layer of your being, or to release the identities that no longer serve, called to strip away the illusions you've outgrown. And most people run from that call. But you were built for it. You've noticed it, haven't you? That when things fall apart, something ancient in you wakes up. That when the world goes quiet, your inner world starts speaking. That when you're stripped bare emotionally, spiritually, even physically, you begin to feel a power that's not borrowed, not fabricated, but earned. That's sacred chaos. It doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to strip you of what's false. And only those who can sit inside that fire without flinching will ever know who they truly are. You see, darkness is not a place of absence. It's a womb. It's where seeds transform. It's where souls remember. And if you've been through enough nights of the soul, you already know the darkness didn't kill you. It revealed you. It pulled away the masks. It silenced the noise. It forced you to listen to the parts of yourself that light couldn't reach. And in that silence, in that sacred hollow space, you found something that the world can't give you: truth. Truth that isn't pretty. Truth that isn't marketable. But truth that is real. And realness is your superpower. This is why you're not afraid of intensity. Why people come to you when their lives are falling apart. Why you're the one people call when they're lost, not when they're celebrating. Because your field can hold chaos. Your soul has trained in the underworld. You don't shrink in crisis. You crystallize. And that's not a coincidence. That's your calling. But to truly step into it, you must stop demonizing your darkness. You must stop apologizing for your depth. You must stop hiding the parts of yourself that don't fit into the polished version of spiritual. Because the truth is, your power doesn't lie in how light you are. It lies in how anchored you are. Anchored in truth. Anchored in presence. Anchored in the ability to hold both shadow and light without flinching. That is spiritual maturity. That is mastery. And that, more than anything, is what attracts the unseen world to you. Angels are drawn to your reverence. Demons are drawn to your magnetism. They recognize that you are not surface level. You are a threshold, a place where transformation happens, and everything wants to be near that kind of alchemy. Let me ask you something you may not have considered. What if the parts of yourself you've labeled too much are actually the keys to your spiritual mastery? What if your intensity, your emotions, your visions, your rage, your hunger for truth, what if none of that is a mistake? What if that is the material of your gift? Because here's the truth the world avoids. The light without the dark is fragile. It breaks under pressure. It dissolves when things get real. But the light that has passed through the dark, that has danced with demons, that has sat in the void and learned its name, that light is unshakable. That light is alive. That light doesn't blink when things get heavy. It responds. It leads. It liberates. So the next time you're in chaos, internal or external, don't run. Don't numb. Don't ask, why is this happening to me? Ask instead, what is this initiating me into? What part of my power is being activated through this storm? Because the storm isn't outside you. It's coming from you. And when you learn to ride it, to trust it, to become it, you stop fearing the dark. You start realizing that you are the dark, not the absence of light, but the source of it. You were never supposed to fit in. You were built to break the matrix from within. There's a moment in every dark chosen one's journey when the ache of being different turns into the awareness of being designed. It's not that you couldn't fit in. It's that you weren't meant to. The systems, the expectations, the rules of this world, they were never written for someone built like you. And deep down, you've always known it. You've felt it in the way you questioned everything others blindly accepted. You've seen it in how your desires refused to stay small. You've carried it in the tension between being too much and not enough for a world that was never calibrated for your frequency. Let's be clear, this isn't about rebellion for the sake of resistance. This is about remembrance. You were never here to conform. You were sent to infiltrate, to walk among the ordinary while carrying the extraordinary, to move through the illusion while vibrating with truth. Your soul chose to incarnate not as an outsider to critique the system from afar, but as a warrior seated deep within it to disrupt it from the inside. And that's why your life has never made sense by conventional standards. Because you weren't born to live a normal life. You were born to dismantle the matrix of normalcy. You've probably felt it in every job that drained you, every relationship that couldn't hold you, every institution that tried to tame you. You felt the pressure to shrink, to silence, to turn down your knowing for the comfort of others. But no matter how much you tried to play the role, something inside you always resisted. That resistance, it wasn't dysfunction. It was divine memory. It was the part of you that remembered who you are and what you came to do. You came to awaken the sleepers, to shake the foundations, to drop seeds of light in the darkest places. And the reason your path has been so intense, so isolating, is because you've been undergoing initiation. Initiation into a level of sovereignty that few ever reach. And that kind of training doesn't happen in temples. It happens in silence, in chaos, in heartbreak, in betrayal, in those moments when it felt like even spirit had gone quiet. When you looked around and thought, where is my help? Where is my guide? And the answer was, it's being born inside you. Because if you're going to break the matrix, you can't be dependent on it. You have to become self-sourced. You have to become truth in motion. You have to become the kind of being that doesn't just talk about liberation, but embodies it down to your breath, your choices, your presence. That's the level of coherence required to shift the collective field. And that's exactly why you've been tempered like a blade in fire. Not to be destroyed, but to become surgical, precise, unstoppable. Let me ask you something you may have never dared to ask yourself. What if the reason you've never belonged anywhere is because you were born to create a place that didn't exist before you? What if you're not here to find the tribe, but to become the frequency that calls the tribe into existence? You don't need permission to be who you are. You don't need validation to walk your path. The time for asking is over. The time for remembering has come. You are not broken. You are coded. Coded with keys that unlock systems. Coded with a vibration that cracks illusions. Coded with a fire that burns through stagnation. And every time you've resisted your truth, you've dulled that code. But now it's time to turn it on. You didn't come here to be liked. You came here to be legendary, not in the eyes of the masses, but in the quiet recognition of those who feel you on a soul level. You came here to trigger, to awaken, to liberate, and yes, that means many won't understand you. That's okay. They're not supposed to. Because the ones who are meant for you, the ones who see you, the ones who remember their mission, when they meet your energy, they will find you. So stop trying to explain yourself to a system you were built to dismantle. Stop trying to gain approval from structures you were designed to outgrow. And most of all, stop apologizing for your difference. Your difference is your directive. Your frequency is the virus in the matrix, and your soul is the signal for the new world. Now, go live like it. You were never supposed to fit in. You were built to break the whole thing open.